So you've actually done it. You've actually moved to Prague from Toronto or Texas or Mexico City. Congratulations. Now what? Well, obviously, from all of the many videos on this channel, you have plenty of information about Czech restaurants, famous Czech people, Czech beer, the Czech mentality, pretty much everything I could think of to tell you that would make your stay in this country and this city go more smoothly. But to be honest, it's not all svičkova and slivovice. After all, we are American expats, and sometimes Hans and I just try to live normal lives. So today, I'm going to show you some of our favorite Prague things and help you develop a few favorites of your own in your new city. Let's start with the basics. The typical bread you're gonna get in a Czech store or restaurant is just not exactly my cup of tea. It's a little dry and the crust is a little too soft. I grew up on big, beautiful, crunchy loaves of San Francisco sourdough, and that's not easy to find in Europe. Even the famous French bread is good, but it's a little too pale for my taste. It's a little too lacking in flavor. Which brings me to Pekárna Praktika, a bakery with 2 locations in Vinohrady and Karlin. The founder trained in some of the most famous bakeries in the US and England, and the bread at Praktika is the closest thing I've ever found in Europe to San Francisco sourdough. They also make amazing croissants, which are a little bit heftier than your typical French croissant, but somehow it's even more delicious, just more scrumptious. I'd show you a video of one, except they keep selling out earlier than I arrive. Perhaps next time they'll put one aside for me. Pekárna Praktika's bread is good enough to eat with just a drizzle of fat or a spot of jam, but if you're from the US, you probably prefer that elusive American treat, peanut butter. Europeans just don't get peanut butter. You can find it here, but it's kind of an afterthought and it's not even that good. This is just not a peanut continent. Like most Europeans, the Czechs will eat Nutella, which is delicious, but it's kind of filled with sugar, seems a bit much. Which brings me to my favorite topping for an excellent slice of bread, Šufan nut butters. Šufan began when these 2 Czech dudes went to Canada in search of the American dream, not knowing that America was one country to the south. Joke! Freaking Canadians. So hostile. What the dudes discovered was a love of nut butter, like all we North Americans have. So they returned to the Czech Republic, and in 2014 they founded Šufan. Oh, but Šufan is so much more than peanut butter. Have you ever heard of pistachio butter? Or espresso butter? It tastes just like home, only better. You can find Šufan in many of the bio shops around town. Personally, I like to use their nut butters on homemade crepes with some warmed bananas or blueberries, just like my babička used to make. Yum. I don't know if I should put this one in the mental health category, or the how to meet friends category, or the 6-pack abs category. I'm still working on that last one. For fitness, we will not look to America for inspiration, but to the 7th healthiest country in the world, Australia, and their very popular export F45 fitness centers. So I think when you move to Prague, it can be really intimidating to find a fitness regime or to join a gym, especially if your Czech is not great. I mean, I'm already afraid of the machines, but if they started speaking Czech to me, I'd be out of there. The F45 in Prague 1 is very international. The coaches give instruction in English and Czech, and the membership I'd say is about 50-50 expat to local Czech. Here's why I love F45. All you need is 45 minutes. You show up and the equipment and the workout is all set up for you. The workout is demonstrated on TV screens, and throughout the workout, the coaches are circulating the whole time, checking your form and making sure you feel comfortable in the movements and the amount of weight you're using. I am not a gym person, and I freaking love F45. The routines are never the same. The owners and the coaches and the people I meet there are really nice. I never struggle with motivation. In fact, it's often the best part of my day, especially in the cold winter months. It just gets my endorphins going and puts me in a really good mood for the rest of the day. And I'm currently doing my first ever F45 challenge. That's 6.5 weeks of guided meal plans, guided exercising, and I'm posting all about it on my Instagram as I go. So be sure to follow me there. Editing Jen here. I just showed Adam, one of the owners of the F45 in Prague 1, a draft of my video, and I told him I was including F45 in my favorite Prague things, and he said, you know what? Why don't you give your viewers a discount? So if you want to join me for a week at F45, click the link in the description box below, and you can use the promotion code JEN to get 300 crowns off a 7-day unlimited pass. So that's 199 crowns for 7 unlimited days at F45. Maybe you can be my next workout buddy. The clothing selection in Prague is fairly limited compared to other big cities. You know, we have your typical international fast fashion stores and malls. Those really aren't for me. Prague does have many secondhand clothing stores, but I don't know if you can relate to this. So I have ambition to be like a secondhand clothing fashionista. I want to save the environment. I want to save some money. But I go into a secondhand shop and I can just never find anything. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna find a piece of treasure in that pile of smelly old clothes. And it never happens, and I just get overwhelmed and then underwhelmed. And then I found Trochu Jiný Sekáč. Sekáč means secondhand store. It's a beautifully designed, stylish boutique, and the items just happen to be carefully selected, previously owned clothes. The staff has a real eye for detail, and they have color-coordinated outfits, and everything looks so appealing. The prices are affordable, and the selection seems to be of a much higher quality than you might find in other secondhand stores. So if you're a female who feels underwhelmed with Prague's fashion options, check out Trochu Jiný Sekáč, and I'm sure you'll find something there. Ask any expat for a recommendation on where to get a beer, and they'll tell you Rik. It's quite the international beer garden. But alas, it's fairly cold outside, and so we prefer to hole up in our favorite local pub. Or two. So I've got my local pub, and I've got my putting on her big girl pants and getting on a tram pub. The second pub, or beer cafe, is called Lia, and it's in Zichovec, just a couple of tram stops away from Náměstí Míru. The proprietress, Sarah, is very knowledgeable about beer. I actually did an interview with her. You can watch it here. They've always got new and interesting beers on tap and a great selection of bottles and cans from Czech microbreweries. It feels a little like sipping beer in your best friend's living room. And in the warmer months, you can sit out back in their lovely garden. If you're a new expat, it's really important to have your local pub. Now, this doesn't have to be the most authentically Czech or the coolest or where the most people are. It just has to be welcoming to you and in your neighborhood. And for us, that pub is NuBeer. You've probably seen it in a lot of the videos we've filmed. Hansa and I kind of use it as our writer's room, but the staff is really friendly and they know us by name, and nothing makes you feel more welcome in a new city than a place where people recognize you and welcome you. So NuBeer is kind of on a nondescript little street near museum, and they have a nice selection, a rotating tap list of many different types of beer that we like, and they've got a fridge with some local specialties, so you can always take one for the road. But I really encourage you to check out Leah or check out NuBeer, but more importantly, find your local pub that makes you feel at home. And last but definitely not least is my favorite beer. This is a little tough. This is like picking a favorite child. And my selection is not necessarily to everyone's taste. But this video isn't about everyone. It's about me and my Prague. I've I've got several seasonal favorite beers, but my all-time favorite go-to beer is Juicy Lucy by Zichovec. It used to be harder to find, but now I see it in a lot of pubs, so I think that others agree with me that it's one of their best. It's a New England IPA, and it hits the spot. I hope that if you're a recent transplant to Prague, you are finding your own favorite places and drinks and restaurants and hobbies. And if you're looking for a place to work out or just hang out, maybe I'll see you in one of mine. Tell me in the comments below some unexpected place or thing in Prague that you really recommend to others. Uvidíme se příště. Ahoj.